Hello, everyone. Welcome to this next exit interview. Sadly, joined just short of the final three. We have Michael here with us. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well. A bit disappointed I wasn't in the final three, but it
Hey,
is
you
what it
made the
is.
finale though. So
I
like,
know I did. I could take that. I'll
Yeah.
I'll take that with pride. Rob got it, you know?
yes, there we go. Rob got us. And as always, we are joined by Lily.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us, Michael. My first question is always, what were your thoughts about this game? What was your favorite parts, your least favorite parts?
Favorite challenge? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's give
And
a list of your favorites.
It
and it
was
better
it
be
was
everything. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean it was very fun, like getting to know everyone. I did like the challenges, particularly the ones I won. The relay was great. I was like, wow, this is going amazing. That was probably my favorite. Or the trivia because I literally just like sweeped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Which
did.
that
it got to a point where we were in our production chat like, all right, how many questions until we call it that Michael has won, so we don't have to like finish the rest of the questions. And you just were like either guessing or like intuition. I don't know how you did it, but it was like sweep.
Yeah, it was a mix of both. A couple of like one of those number ones I got right, and I was like, how the fuck did I do that? Like I really just was like two.
Did
Yeah.
you
It was
go
right.
into that challenge
Yeah.
thinking you would do really well?
No, because I feel like I was like the least connected person that was left. So I
Hmm.
was like, I probably don't know everyone as well as everyone else. Apparently I was wrong though.
Yeah,
Um, like apparently I really knew what people like Survivor wise at least.
yeah.
Yeah, you just have good intuition, which is not a bad thing.
Mhm.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, we'll slide right into my next question with that intuition. We'll talk a little bit about pre-merge. I don't want to like harp on it a lot because you have a very long game. So each tribe was offered to have three people go on a quest. And you were one of the three that did not go on a quest. And it kind of changes the way the game plays out. Is there a reason why you don't go on the quest?
Not particularly. I mean, all of us Damo didn't really figure out it was a swap. So we were like, who wants to like participate? And I was like, honestly, I'm lazy. So I was just like not gonna say anything.
I don't want
It,
to move to another tribe. Like,
yeah, I don't want to do
Do I
anything.
have
So
to
I'm just gonna
physically get up?
yeah.
I
So
don't
I
want to
just
have to
did it.
change my Zoom square to a blue one. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Too much work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just like I'll just stay. And
Yeah, it works
we're
out.
good.
And then your swapped tribe is the first one to lose after the kind of switcheroo. And you're in this weird spot because it's three original and three new people. And the worst phrase you ever hear a lot during this episode is rocks. And you say
especially
immediately,
Michael.
yeah,
Was the big like no rocks.
yeah. And immediately you're like, hell to the no to rocks.
Uh-huh.
And you offer to flip.
Yeah.
Talk us through that. Talk us through getting Landon out.
I mean, I again, just no rocks. Well, especially that early, I was like, no way in hell am I gonna just like let myself die on the sword like at
Yeah.
final 12. Like, no. So, and then
Well,
it,
sort of
also,
with this, what was your relationship to Eric and Landon at the time? Because you won one and you lost one, so you kind of had some time to talk, but like were those like an optimal pair for you to go on this swap tribe with? Like,
probably not. I think the optimal pair with me would have been Sean and Victoria, actually. They're
okay.
the people I talked to the most during that Sherry round. Like when we got split up by Sherry, that's who I got put with. Yeah. Especially like I kept being put with Sean and then Victoria. We obviously talked a lot on that. So that'd probably be the two at that point that ended up being the people I knew the most. And then so being put with Eric and Landon, who were already kind of like a pair. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm the third wheel. Okay. Uh,
It
we'll deal
felt
with this.
that. It felt that.
Yeah.
So like when Kylie like did Kylie work her magic or like were you just like, okay, yes, I'm voting with you guys, no problem.
A mix of both. It was a little bit of convincing, but it wasn't that much
hard. It
convincing.
wasn't
Yeah.
hard to convince
I,
you.
I yeah, I flopped over pretty fast and was like, you know what? How about I vote out Landon? You know,
Yeah.
like
Did
Yeah.
you
So my question, go
throw
ahead.
the sorry, I keep taking over your stick, and I'm sorry about this. But did you throw out Landon, or like you very much were like Landon?
yeah, I was like, if I had chose between the two, it was gonna be Landon.
Okay.
Yeah, so my question was going to be, and it goes off of McKenna's question. After you throw out Landon's name, what if Kylie had said, oh, no, Landon has to stay. We have to vote out Eric. What would you have done then? Would you still have voted out Eric?
Probably, but that would have been sus. I would have been like, what is this? Like, what has gone down in these like 10 minutes or whatever of this round where you're like, I trust Landon wholeheartedly. Like, we cannot vote him out. Like, especially with knowing how
throw
I do
that
role play.
random vote to make it 3-2-1.
I could have done that. Honestly, that would track with my game going forward. So
So how do you think the flipping and voting for Landon reshaped your game? This was a big question, or will be a big question when we talk to Eric, because getting out somebody he was closely tied to so early on really reshaped his game. And I think it also really opened up your game as well. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
yeah, it like really gave me, I feel like, a lot more options, mobility wise, of like who I could talk to, like who was willing to work with me. Especially knowing that I was like not the loudest voice in the room. I think that helped a lot. Although I obviously also cut off certain people, like Jordan, for example, like really was gonna trust me. And I was just like, okay, just gonna have to deal with that come merge. But yeah, I think it really gave me more of a position of both power and like just able to talk to more people. So
Yeah, because we see that with you voting with Danny, John, and Kylie, they want to vote with you again at the merge. And so I think it's interesting that who you wanted to reconnect with ends up being the merge boot, Sean. What were your thoughts on that, right? Because the merge vote is very critical in that it could literally be anyone, so everybody is just trying to fly under the radar. But did you hear Sean's name? What were your reactions?
yeah, I got brought Sean's name not too far into the round, but I was far enough where it's like I don't think I could change this. Because if I had to choose, I don't think I believe Sean that he didn't know what was happening. Maybe it's because I got to talk to him more, but I was like, I really don't think Sean is the big threat out
So
of those three.
Who is the big threat?
That's
Who
a great
would
one.
have
I
flipped it?
would have probably chosen Jordan, honestly. I think she is just like so good socially and like so likable that would be my pick. I don't know if that would have worked either because apparently people were also getting really good vibes from her, which I get it.
Which
But
is crazy to think, because she was stuck in like one room practically the entire time, that everyone was like, Jordan's amazing. And it's just like you barely get to talk to her.
I know, I know, but you could tell like it's just like it really like radiates off of her. So it's like even with that, it's still like, oh gosh, like you could really like get it in here.
Yeah, that's very true. And you also mentioned Victoria. Did you have a chance to reconnect with her at the merge, or did it feel like kind of a lost connection the further it went on?
I think we did reconnect a bit at the merge. Like it really got solidified down with the John vote that we were suddenly like the two people on the bottom after that. But yeah, I got to talk a decent amount with Victoria. Like she's the one who told me that people were throwing out my name and be like a silent killer or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that's news. Yeah.
Yeah, so we see Sean go out, someone that you were hoping to work with, and then the next round, Robbie's name comes up, and it seems like it's a pretty easy one for you. Is that kind of, you don't know him, right? It makes it such an easy vote for you.
Yeah, it really did.
And then the
And I,
next round is also really easy for you.
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's Jordan. Yeah.
yeah,
You're
no, that,
skating.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Those that rounds were nice. I was like, oh, great. It's two people who don't want to work with me, and both voted me out. So
Mhm. Do you think that these rounds of voting helped you solidify connections with other people in the game that you didn't have before?
yeah, I mean, I think it just gave me more time to just like not super focus on game of like this is the vote. We have to make sure we get the numbers, like all of that. Like it didn't really need to be that during those rounds, which I think like helped move me like around a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, although I think it also helped a lot of other people. So I kind of inadvertently also fell a bit further than I think I was come into merge. So
Mhm. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think jumping a little bit backwards, because that's how my mind works, I think getting past that first merge boot was big for you because you could have been an easy target, right? All it
very
took was Eric going to your original tribe and being like, this is the guy that switched and, voted Landon out. But because Eric doesn't do that right away, it lets your chaotic, not to call it chaotic, but you were a little chaotic in the game, right? We all love a little chaos.
Mhm.
It
It
allowed
spices
you
things
to
up.
yeah, and it allows you to continue this little bit of chaos here and there and nobody thinking it was you when it happened. I mean, how did you do that?
I'm really hard to read, I've been told. So like I like could kind of just like lie it off and like I don't make the most sense. Like for the who was the extra vote on John? Like me? No. Like it just would have made no logical reason for me to do that other than it would be funny.
Mhm.
So and then the John vote, I mean it was mostly just like if it
I know
works,
kind of
great.
going.
And if it didn't,
Yeah.
you know, it's like yeah, that's how I viewed it. I mean, maybe not the most strategic mind, like way of
It's
going about it, but
Yeah, but I feel like it's you knew where the votes were going enough where it's like I can do this and I can see what happens afterwards. So it's
yeah.
like it's not strategic, but it's not like, going with the flow of like the majority.
I was so worried that I want to just like follow the numbers because if I got to the final three doing that, I was just losing. And I like picked up on that vibe really quickly. So I was like, I have to like try and switch things up, like do some stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like a big reason of like I could just vote against people and be like,
And
not feel bad about it.
yeah, we've seen in past episodes. I don't know if you watched Ear Ricky, where somebody James is like, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to throw a little bit of chaos in. And then he goes home on that boat, right? But it's
I
because,
saw that.
Besides rocks, like he will never put himself in a rock situation.
but that's what I'm
Never.
saying, right? There's a good way to do chaos, and there's a
Yeah.
better way to do chaos. And I think even what's even harder than playing a good game is playing a good chaotic game because not a lot of people can pull it off. I mean, I know I couldn't. So I think it's a huge, point to you and probably why they take you out at Final Four. I mean, we hear them say, I'm jumping ahead again, that like you said, they can't read you, and you start really eloquently saying why Kylie shouldn't be there. And Eric is singing, oh crap, like he knows what he's saying,
Mhm.
Yeah, he's not this like he is like this like sleeper pick that everybody has been talking about because he's just been like, that's great, I'll vote that way, or like something like that. And then you'd get to that final tribal and be like, so here's my list. And like
Here's everything I've thought this whole game.
Yeah.
Here's my whole resume.
yeah.
Don't vote me out.
Yeah, I loved the word that McKenna used. I even wrote a question here. We see Kylie, Alanis, and Eric call you a sleeper in a positive way, right? They
Yeah.
don't mean it negatively. What do you think about this? Do you think like you revealed your game too soon? Do you think you could have approached the Final Four differently?
Honestly, I don't really think so. I was thinking about it, and I don't think I get to the end not doing that with having even any shot. You
Mhm.
know, like I really feel like I need to start revealing things when I did. Like that's when things started needing to happen. Because I couldn't just like be like, well, I survived the final four vote, and that's how I should win the game, you know, by doing like not as much. I think it was kind of, at least I'm thinking back, and I don't think the timing could have really been changed where it would have worked out to even be a possibility. So
I
yeah,
completely agree. Yeah.
Um, backtrack a little bit because we jumped to your final four. The final six of the no scramble round, and we see Victoria go home. And you already said like you and Victoria realized you were both on the bottom. Like
Mm.
there was probably no way to change the outcome. So what were your feelings during that round? Like, ooh, like I'm screwed going into the next one unless I win immunity, which like
yeah,
congratulations.
thank you.
But what were your thoughts when we were like, all right, so like we're gonna go tribal?
I was shitting myself. I was like, God damn it. Like I can't do anything now. And I thought, because I knew my game and I like knew how people kept telling me how they like viewed Victoria as not a big threat and all that. I was like, I'm fucked. Like you can't really argue that with me. At least I felt
Yeah.
of like I've done like I haven't really been like because I've been in power, like I've had influence, like I've won I won the past immunity, you know, like, and I've done like the plank and things. So I was like, I'm fucked. So I was scared out of my mind during that tribal that I was gonna go. And I was like, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, and a part of this vote, right? Even though you've kept your cards close to you, you haven't really had a lot of like, this is what I think should be happening, or this is who I voted for up until the John vote out, where you say, oh, yeah, I was one of the two that voted for you, Kylie. Why did you decide to do this? And do you think that this kind of affected your game moving forward?
I don't really think it affected it too much actually. Um, but my thought process was like the people I'm playing with, like they're not dumb. And
Mhm.
when they thought two, I was like, I'm an easy person to guess was one of those two.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they were gonna assume that anyway. Like even we see it like in the episode, the two possibilities are either me and Danny or me and Victoria. But I'm like the no matter what, it's probably Michael was one of them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that was my main reason. I was like, they're gonna figure it anyway. So I might as well just be open about it. Uh, and hopefully that'll give me some credit.
Mhm. I think it would have been really interesting because we see Eric, even after him and Kylie talk about who are the Kylie votes, right? We know one is John, and we think Michael and Victoria, the other two. But then Eric throws in, it's got to be Danny. And even after you guys admit it, he still is like, oh, it's got to be Danny,
Yeah,
which is just like it's a fast moving game, right?
yeah.
You lose track of what's going on. It would be interesting to see if you hadn't admitted to it, if that would have gotten pinned on Danny. Now, does that really change the outcome of your game? I don't think so, because you still outlasted Danny.
Mhm.
But I wonder if it could have been pinned to Danny in the end.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, maybe. I just think, at least based off my understanding of what was happening, people were more likely to believe it was me,
I
Mm.
think.
I think, anyway. So
Mhm,
I don't think it, like, if anything, I think it would have just then put it on me and Danny, and then I probably would go there, not Danny,
mhm.
um, which almost would be worse. So,
Yeah, and as McKenna mentioned, you win this challenge after the Victoria vote out perfectly, right? You're probably the next one to go. But something that we don't hear often is that you are a huge challenge threat. I don't know how it gets pinned on different people, but you have done really well in these different types of challenges. How do you think you get away with it? I'm going to pin it on your skinny jeans, but I want to know.
Because you were doing
honestly,
the plank in the skinny jeans.
yeah,
and
it
the whole
honestly
shit,
might
the skinny
it
jeans.
might be. I think it was just because I was like quiet. I wasn't like really in your face. I think it like I'm also clearly not like the biggest person, you know, like I'm pretty skinny and scrawny. I just
Mhm.
have a very high pain tolerance. So
Yeah,
for a
when
lot
they
of that
picked
stuff.
you for that plank, I wasn't like judging your physical ability, but I was like, it feels like Landon looks the part of the plank,
Mhm.
where I wouldn't have gone you for the plank. I would have
Yeah.
gone you for maybe the slide puzzle.
Yeah, right. I look like the puzzle, but I think something that happened early that didn't really make the edit was I actually say that I'm not very good at puzzles to
Mhm.
all of Damu. I tell them like, don't
Oh,
put me on
well,
a
I guess
puzzle,
because you were
which is a
very.
lie, but it's because I didn't want to do the word scramble.
Oh, that's true. All right, all right. Because we
'Cause
do see you
yeah.
win that puzzle. I mean,
Mhm.
it
It
was
was,
against
yeah, I totally lied
Atlantis
to Damu.
though, but like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair. Yeah, but
she
yeah, I
does
put that
claim
out
her
pretty
lack of
early
puzzle
that I was
skills.
like, I'm not very good at puzzles. Like I'd rather do the physical stuff. So I think that's inadvertently what ended up happening. Um,
And you
which
and Danny drop at like the exact same time,
I know,
basically,
so
for that
close.
plank. So
Close.
like if you had held up for like 2 more seconds, you would have won that
I
point.
know. Oh
And it
well. I mean, I don't think it really changes the outcome of that challenge, but
I was gonna say it kind of feels that way with the wall sit too. Like even though Eric looks solid in his confessional, he says like the only reason he was able to stay on is because he hears that you're shaking, so just that close every
I know,
time.
right? That this
so
close, yeah.
you got to participate in like all these challenges, and you got to win 2 of them, which is you're tied with Eric here on individual immunity wins at 4. Is there anything that you're trying to pitch to someone, like to try and keep you in this game, like
Mhm.
anything that you're
I
grasping?
Yeah, I'm really trying to like, because Eric tells me pretty immediately when I talk with him that he's not voting Alanis no matter what. And I was like, okay, well that pitch scrapped. Anyway, so I'll talk about Kylie
Kylie.
now. And like her relationships with the jury and everything that I was like pretty sure she had. Like I know how social she is with me. I've experienced her magic.
Yeah.
So I like figured that would probably translate. So that was the big thing. But I guess the problem with that is that their games are so similar
Mm.
almost in a way that it was hard to even really put it down because I feel like Eric was like, well, you're so different. Like I've done so many different things and everyone kind of knew that at that point. And I guess I put it too well because Eric was that scared how well good I wasn't speaking. Uh,
Yeah.
You hadn't spoken that much until this point.
I know.
I
In
know,
one
exactly.
session.
I guess one thing we will also point out is we saw in the reunion a bunch of people just being pulled from you in things. So how did you try and like, I guess, navigate that? Because I didn't realize how often people were being pulled from
All
you.
the time at most
So,
rounds. Yeah.
yeah. So how did you try and like navigate around that?
I didn't really. It kind of became a situation where I just like accepted it. Like around merge, I was like, you know what? It's just how it goes. And I was like, everyone must be having this problem. Like it can't just be me. But nope, it's just me who has it as often. And I was just like, it just can't like I just had to keep going. It was just because I couldn't do anything about it. It's like I could be like, no, come back from confessional. Like so
Yeah.
yeah, it was just
Just have
it
to.
was
All right,
unfortunate though.
I'm gonna go vote this way. What are your thoughts? Please tell me now.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I'll maybe talk to them later, I guess. And just talking to someone else.
Another aspect of this game that we've talked a lot about during these exit interviews is that it's all in one day. There's some people, like Danny said in his exit interview, where he's a slow burn. He needs to get to know you better. He feels like he wasn't really in the conversations at the beginning. And then we have other people who feel like they get burnt out. And that's what costs them the game. Do you feel like you're one or the other, or you're kind of in the middle of how this mini game is set up with your personality?
I guess I would be more of a slow burn, except I don't think I changed too much. Like I'm not like super loud or super like outgoing regardless, even when I'm like all the way in and like I know all y'all, like I don't think it changed too drastically. But at the beginning I was like very much like awkward, nervous, like I don't know what's happening. I've never done this before. So,
would you ever play a long game to try and like test your strategy on a longer form Survivor?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like how would that change, because I feel like that almost would probably work better. I really would be able to like push myself in socially and like figure things out and like hopefully keep winning and stuff, like keep winning immunities and all that while also being a lot more ingratiated in. I think that would probably help me a lot.
Yeah. Another aspect of long games that you don't get the opportunity to do in a mini is talk not just face to face, which I feel like for me, I am not a call person. If you
I'm
want
the
to get a hold of me,
complete
yeah, you text me. And so when someone calls me, I think someone's dying.
Mhm. Same.
Right? So that's why mini is very hard because everything's in person. I'm not used to kind of like having to navigate lying in front of people and all these other things. Did you
And I
find
mean, Michael could probably directly get connected to people without them leaving him. So
Yeah, that helps.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, did you find it harder to, I mean, harder, this is your first game, right? Did you find it harder for you to lie to people about what you were doing in these Zoom calls?
Not really. Is that bad?
no, I mean, we'll talk to Alanis about this as well. But one thing while watching is you and Alanis, whenever you guys ended up in rooms, you were kind of dancing around each other a lot with like,
Yeah.
especially that final four of just like, all right, so the only other option here is Kylie because we're the other two. So like, what do
Yeah.
you want to do?
Yeah.
So
I guess like, yeah, I can kind of just, it was fine for me to lie knowing like it was what I had to do.
yeah.
I don't think I lied like too excessively or anything, but it was kind of just like, well, this is what I signed up for. Maybe it's the survivor like villain in me or whatever. It's like I could just lie. It's fine. It's like part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really mind it too much. Um, I feel like I kind of just got used to it. So
Yeah. Was there so in the theoretical world of you winning that wall sit,
mm.
is your pitch Alanis here?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of Alanis or Eric were
Okay.
my two options.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're gonna turn on Eric right at the final moment.
Yeah. Wanted to be the last Damu. Yeah. I mean, because I just felt like Eric kind of has certain qualities of my game, or like in Eric being able to like ingratiate into Damu 2.0, and then I feel like he almost like overshadowed me eventually.
Right.
In like the social structure of everyone. So that was the main reason for Eric. And then Alanis, it was like we never worked together. You've said my name, I've said your name many times. And it kind of became this thing where I was like, if I don't get Alanis out if I can, she can then just go to the final three and be like, you literally never were able to get me out, yet you pitched my name like so many rounds. And like that is a big fault. I can't even like deny that. Like if I was never able to do it, that's bad.
Yeah.
So those are my like two options I was considering.
So Kylie is still never like she was only forced out of your mouth essentially because Eric was like, I'm not voting Alanis.
Yeah, because I feel like Eric and Kylie were like I kind of viewed them as basically the same, except I feel like Eric in some ways had to put in more work, and Kylie was more like always in power.
Yeah.
And I guess just because of my own game, I was like, well, Eric's more threatening in that way because he has that same style of pitch. Whereas
Right.
like I can never pitch Kylie's game in like basically any way outside of certain votes because it was so different. So that was my main thought process there.
Yeah, I was going to say it's interesting what you said about Alanis because I don't think she ever picked up on that you were always kind of tossing her name out. So your biggest fear, I feel like, might not have even come to fruition.
I know, right? But I really thought someone told her eventually. I was like, there's no way that hasn't gotten back to her. I've pitched her name basically every time since like 10 that she wasn't safe.
Yeah.
That's funny. So I do wonder, after you're voted out, but before the final tribe happens, who do you think is going to win out of the final three?
I thought it was gonna be Kylie. I was like, it's either Kylie or Eric is winning. That was my perception. Clearly, I was very wrong.
You didn't have any time with the jury either because
Yeah.
you get voted out. We have you do your final words. Everybody's just kind of mingling. We get the jury in. And then once you come in, it's final tribal because we're like ready to get this shit over with. Like there's no professionals from the final three. There's no nothing where like you don't get to see what the jury has been going through for these past couple of hours.
Yeah, what they've been saying, like any of the conversation. Yeah, right. I guess it was just I was like completely not privy to that, and I guess it didn't help that I was so opposite of Alanis in a lot of the game that I really knew Eric and Kylie's, and I really like didn't know hers, which only made her more threatening to me because I was like, I have no idea what you've been doing. Whereas like Kylie and Eric, I could probably have even at Final Three recited their games for them. So in a lot of ways, not everything obviously, but a lot of it. So yeah.
So I guess if this is on your list of questions, Lily, again, I apologize, but you're the sole vote for Eric, and you're the only person that doesn't vote Alanis this season. Why did you ultimately go for Eric over Kylie? Like, was it because of the Damu bond, or like, did he pitch himself better? What was your thought?
Honestly, it was very simple. It was just he's the only reason I'm not in the final three at the end of the day. And I felt like both of them played really good games, and I felt both their games were pretty similar. So I was like, that's a good enough reason, I guess, if I had to choose. Like, you're the reason I'm not pitching my case. Like Kylie and Alanis both fell substantially before me, you know. So yeah, I felt like just good enough of a reason at that point.
Valid.
Yeah, I think that's a great reason. I had a question of do you think, and I hate the way I phrase this, but I don't know how else to phrase it if McKenna has a better way, but do you think that you could have outperformed anyone in that final tribal, maybe gotten a couple votes? Because we see at Final Four, the main reason to get you out isn't because you're a challenge beast, right? Isn't because of your connections. It's because they're afraid that you can talk to the jury.
Yeah.
Do you think that they were valid in this reasoning?
100%. I really think I could have talked up that jury, and I think it helped, especially even seeing like Alanis win. Like I think being under the radar and then being able to pitch my game of like these are all the things I've been actively doing. I think it would have gone over well. Maybe not, sweep jury vote, but I feel like I could have at least gotten a couple. But I think I definitely needed that opportunity because I feel like going in, I probably wasn't going to get any. It was very much I needed to speak my way into jury votes.
Which is how most people feel, right? When they go into final tribal, everyone feels like they have to speak to the jury. Very few people can do it. I can't do it myself. So I commend anyone that has that capability. Let's say you were able to get Alanis out and you were in that final three instead of her. Who do you think Robbie votes for? Do you think Robbie votes for you?
Oh, crap.
Oh,
I
shit.
think he votes for Michael personally, but I'm wondering what you think.
Oh, wow. Maybe honestly, because I guess 'cause he was like one of my first real, like, it was like him and Landon were like my first like real victims, I guess, of like people I actively was trying to get out because I didn't really actively pitch the Sean name. So yeah, I guess maybe that'd be very nice. Like, I don't know. I feel like Robbie is such like a wild card to me that I'm like, I'd really have to ask him. Like, I do not know where their heads are at.
If you could play another org or real life survivor game with anybody in this cast, who would you play with and why?
Maybe Maddie. I'd really like to meet Maddie. She seems really cool, but I never got to talk to her. So yeah, that like I just like because I feel like I did get a lot of time with all the jury, like at least to some extent of like being like, "No, I'm not working with you," or like, please help me. Yeah, and Maddie's probably the one who like seeing her on screen. Yeah, right. I think so too. Where I'm like, oh, I wish I got to play with you. That would have been fun.
I
But
love that. Yeah, that's a great answer.
That's
I
a
also
good
love Maddie. So I don't even know her, but I'm obsessed with her. So
yeah.
Alrighty, we ready for Facebook questions?
yep.
Oh gosh.
We kind of talked about this already, but this is from Alanis. Hey Michael, it's so funny watching just us two in a breakout room because 90% of the time we were just lying to each other. If you can change one thing about your game, what would it be?
Um. Ooh. Uh.
Going to rocks.
No. Uh. I don't know. I don't think I. Maybe I would talk more. I think that would have probably been good, especially for the end game if I just talked more and really been like I saw that final four that got formed, of like Danny, Johannes, Kylie, and Eric. And I'm like, maybe if I had been more present with them and talking to them more rather than like John, maybe I could have been in that. But
Maybe wore more roomier pants.
yeah, that too. Maybe wear pants that are fit to do a plank or a wall sit or basically any physical challenge whatsoever. That might have been beneficial.
I think the
That too.
skinny jeans give you points. Like,
Yes.
so I think you keep them, right? Like I can't do a plank in leggings, let alone skinny jeans.
Oh,
So
it was so awful. It was so painful.
Our
Do
next
not recommend.
Our next question is from Eric. He says, Michael, you played a great game and brought so much extra entertainment to our season watching it back. It was a privilege getting to work with you through every round, tribe, vote, and tribal council. Thank you for being such a good sport when we voted you out at 4. I was genuinely sad to cut you, and I'm so glad I got to meet you. If you had won the wall sit, who did you feel most threatened by at the time, / who would you have targeted? Did you have an ideal final 3 or final 2? Lastly, did anything in particular surprise you watching it back? All right, so let's break this one down because there was like several questions in there.
Yeah.
We kind of touched about you would go for Alanis at that final 4 situation if you had won. But who is your ideal final 3 or final 2, just like in general of the game? If you like, if it was within that final 5, great. If it was like
Mhm.
Victoria or Sean or someone like.
Yeah. At one point, at 7, my ideal final 3, like I was like, if John stays, because John will stay a target, he'll go in the next round or two anyway. After that, that was my thought process. Like John's not getting there, so not that's why he was less threatening to me as far as compared to like Kylie. Um, but I'd probably say Victoria and Eric were my ideal final 3 at that point because I really like trusted Eric. I felt like I'd got in with him, and I feel like we would be able to move together pretty well, especially if I then cut Kylie, like his like number one connection. He
Mhm.
suddenly like needs to find someone, and maybe he doesn't go to me, but I thought he would if that was the case. And then Victoria, I just felt like pretty good with like I
Yeah.
feel like out of like the other 3 domos of Sean, Jordan, and her, like she was kind of the one who gave me the most time. And like like Sean immediately gets cut, and then Jordan kind of makes it pretty clear even when I do talk to her, she doesn't really want to work with me. Like I picked
Yeah.
up that vibe pretty quickly. So I was like, well, Victoria's here, and she's like actually speaking to me. That's already something.
She's speaking to me.
So
She has a
yeah,
vote. Like, let's go.
yeah, that's already more than a lot of people. Like. So yeah, that was my thought process of like what would have been my final 3. Um,
All right. We got Sean's question. Michael, are you as chaotic out in the real world as you were playing? If so, please include an example.
um, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think I'm nearly as chaotic in like my general life. Um, I guess the most chaotic thing I do, how I let it out, is playing The Sims, except I never like my Sims never survive more than like an hour of real time. So I guess that maybe.
You just torture Sim.
I guess that would be the best option. I don't even know what else.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm not otherwise very chaotic in real life.
Our last question for you comes from Kylie. Michael, had a blast playing with you, and I loved even more watching you back. I felt very threatened by you at the end because I feel like you played a really great game. My questions are, what was your favorite part about playing, and what was one chaotic thing that you didn't do but looking back wish you had? Congrats on such a dominant performance and going out in the dreaded 4th place. You are a beast.
Thank you. I guess one chaotic thing I really wish I did was not vote out Sean
Mhm.
and then just leave it so like someone else didn't vote Sean. There's like I find unanimous votes so boring.
Yeah.
Like so I was just like when I saw it was unanimous, I literally was like, oh damn it. That's so sad. Because I didn't know Victoria or Jordan were voting there. Like I didn't get to talk with them about it really. So I was like, I would have voted to keep you then, Sean. You would have gone, but I would have
still
felt
would have
better
done
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the other part of the question? Sorry, I already
Um,
forgot.
it was, what was your favorite part about playing the game?
Oh, I just
As
like
a
getting to
first
know
timer,
everyone.
so yeah.
Yeah, getting to know everyone, like doing the comps. Um, even strategizing for vote outs, like I found it all like so fun. Maybe that's like sick and twisted of me to be like, ooh, voting someone out, yay. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So
Oh, I missed one. It was from Jay.
mhm.
So if any of you don't know, Jay was JM from Irariki Islands told Michael to apply to this game, and that's how we got him. So, Michael, where do I start? Everything you know, but you're one of my best friends, a partner in crime, an amazing person, one of the kindest people I know. I truly adore you so much, and everything you do for me, including everything from being RRP's grammar specialist to a couple Sundays ago, but we don't talk about that on live. You were incredible. You were an incredibly messy in this game, but I love that. We are great minds that think alike. However, your game was messier and more random. Therefore, I think I played better. Also, your wall sit is trash, and we both know I can beat you. You're welcome for me letting you have this experience. You know how many amazing friends you met. I have a question for you now. What do you think you were, a villain or a slightly deceptive hero?
That was a lot. Well, but
That was a
Do you
lot.
Do you think you were a villain or
um,
slightly deceptive hero?
um,
I think your line is incredibly blurred.
I know, right? That's why
I
I'm like, I
have
can't
an
answer.
opinion. I have a
Oh,
very
do you?
defined opinion, but I want to wait to see what you say first.
Okay.
Because I feel like in a with a villain, you almost like want to root against them in some ways, but like they do villainous things where it's like I feel like I should be rooted against. Like I was just having a good time, like, but um, yeah, maybe deceptive hero, maybe. I feel like I more rode that line of like keeping it light and fun, and then just like be like, you could go now. But
I
Okay,
think
I want to say I 100% agree because, and I think what made me want to agree with that is you saying a not like unanimous votes are boring. And I think 100% they are boring. And also, it sucks when you go out on an unanimous vote. Like, no one wants to be like, oh,
yeah,
okay, everybody just wanted me out there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you know it's not going to change the game. It's going to cause some fun, a little chaos. You're not no harm, no foul. That's what I would choose, a deceptive hero.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I love a good villain. So like I will root for a villain 100%. But like it's so tough with your game because you do want to root for you because it's like, oh, we see him flip crazy. Like we don't want him out for flipping. But like, oh my gosh, this is fun. And then you're just like throwing votes here and it's like they're not going to go out, but hey. So it's like you have like sprinkles of like villainy, but as our production member Alex Trias likes to say, heroes and villains are a myth in the game of Survivor. He does not believe in them. So I think you've definitely like bust that particular part open of like hero versus a villain, because like you are someone we want to root for, because at one point you turn from in the majority of that 5-strong swap to, oh crap, I'm on the bottom. And so like villains don't necessarily like have that archetype of I'm on the bottom, I have to rise up in like this heroic fashion of like winning challenges and I'm a jury threat and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you're definitely on like the
Yeah, this like weird line, yeah.
Well, we like to end every exit interview with the same question, and that is, if you could sum up your game in one word, what would it be and why?
I thought about this a lot actually, and this might be a weird word to choose, but I thought gymnastics,
Oh,
because lots of flipping, a little bit of messiness, like I might fall over sometimes, but we'll get back up and keep going, you know?
I
yeah.
love this.
And it's fun, which I think is how you play the game. I
Yeah,
think
don't
it's a
take
good
it so
word.
seriously. Like,
Yeah.
For sure one of my my favorite characters here. I think I want to say I say this in every exit interview, but like I loved watching you play, and I definitely thought if you made that final tribal council, you had a strong chance of winning this game. So
I would have at
we'll
least
never
tried to keep it
know,
spicy.
but
Yeah.
it was amazing having you on this season. And would you play again?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It'd be so fun. I had a great time, so
All right. So hopefully we will see you again in the future. But this is our last jury member here. So the next few exit interviews you will see are the final 3. So tune in for them. And that will be it for our Sahara Dunes coverage. See you next time.